I'm going to break in here really quickly to talk about our sponsor. I know you've heard me mention Anchor.fm before. It's by far the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain really quickly. It's free. You don't have to have any experience in advance to do it. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They're going to distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many other more, Google Podcasts, pretty much any place you can look for a podcast. And you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So what are you waiting for? Go download the free Anchor app on the App Store or go to anchor.fm to get started.
What you are about to hear are accounts of real pro wrestling events. Some names, mostly ours, have been changed to protect the innocent. Welcome to Snap Judgments.
The best ever empty arena match. Candice LeRae gets involved. And we see some pretty cool replays. Hey, welcome to another episode of Raw and Order Snap Judgments. This is Snap Judgments for NXT. This week, we have some amazing matches. I've been looking forward to this week for ages since they announced it. Well, okay, so not ages, like 2 weeks, but we got basically all of the NXT TakeOver, all in one lump sum between 2 different weeks, I guess. So last week we had the incredible North American title match. This week we had the ladder match for the women. We had the Indish share, I guess. Like, I really thought the Future was a better name there, but we're going to move on. And then we had the Blackheart versus Rebel Heart match. The Blackheart versus Rebel Heart match, a lot of fun. But yeah, this is Raw and Order Snap Judgments. We are a part of the TattnessCo Podcast Network with great shows like TattnessCo or Tattness Uncensored, Chicken Hen with S&M and Jay in the Dicebox Slam. That actually has an AEW star in it, and Nia Jax. So really, really, really great shows. Basement Bullshit. Make sure you go over to TattnessCo.com, I believe. Yeah, I think it's TattnessCo.com. Check out all of the other podcasts there. But we're here to talk NXT. We're here to talk about probably the greatest night of wrestling television since COVID-19 showed up. Please prepare yourselves, because this is really, really good. Not a lot of matches here, except for the best 36-minute match that's happened recently, including WrestleMania, and the best empty arena match of all time. This was amazing. So we're going to start off at the beginning. We're going to start off with the number one contenders match for the women. This included Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, Chelsea Green, and Tegan Knox. There was a couple really, really great spots here. There was a point where I'm trying to remember who hurt Chelsea Green, but Chelsea Green's leg was wrapped up. I think it was Dakota Kai, was wrapped up in a ladder, and they hit her leg with a steel chair. I sincerely thought Chelsea Green was going to win this thing even after that. She was down on the canvas outside the ring for a vast majority of the match. That's usually a good sign that somebody's going to come back in. She had an assistant out there with her in Stone. Just a great opener, great match. Like, this has been one of the best matches that I've seen in recent memory, and certainly the best women's ladder match I think I may have ever seen. We had high points, low points. Candice LeRae was her usual babyface, was absolutely involved in this match. There was a point towards the end, well, it was the end of the match, Candice LeRae took a fall off the ladder and landed on a ladder that was suspended between two rails. There was a Tegan Nox choke slam combined with, I want to say Mia Yim doing a powerbomb to Raquel, which was really, really cool. So it got Raquel out of the match and effectively reduced Dakota Kai's chances significantly. At the end of the day, I think who we all thought was going to win it did win it. Io won. Io climbed the ladder. Her and Candice are on the ladder at the very end. We had several ladder climbings, people pulling them off, kicking each other, just really, really good stuff. But at the end, Io took everybody out on the outside and then also climbed the ladder, pushed Candice LeRae off onto the ladder suspended between two ropes. Just a really, really good setup. This also gives us a really great Charlotte match, and I'm pumped for that because Charlotte doesn't have a lot of history of wrestling sky-based attacks, and Io with the new attitude, actually I guess I really shouldn't say new attitude because it's been around for about a year, with the attitude that she's had lately, it's going to be a fantastic match. I really thought at one point Chelsea Green was going to win this, and I was rooting for her. Like, when Stone was carrying her up the ladder and rooting her up the ladder, like this was a heel or this was a face-ish setup, and it was really, really good. I deeply enjoy this. Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, of course, kind of renewed some rivalry there. Of course, Nox did her kicks and just beat the crap out of Dakota Kai at one point, which was great. Just a great overall match. They did a good job of separating heel and face here. There was a little bit of heel versus heel, a little bit of face versus face, but at the end of it, the heel, Io Shirai, gets the win. So we actually have a heel versus heel championship, which I'm pumped about. What a rough match for your first match, Charlotte. Somebody you've never faced before that is so unique and different. I almost feel like maybe they're taking the title off of Charlotte there. I don't know for sure, but I think maybe. The next match, well, there were some vignettes that really needed some attention here. There was an NXT UK vignette set up with the Finn Balor versus Walter. Give us kind of a review of Imperium attacking Finn Balor. Gave us the review of Balor's match against one of the I can't remember, against one of the members of Imperium, who was actually on that was on NXT UK. I think we're gonna have the Prince versus Walter, and I think that could be a lot of fun. But yeah, this is more of a review of NXT UK. It was Alexander Wolf, that's who it was. I don't watch a lot of NXT UK. If I did, it would be for Walter matches and for Imperium. So this is I'm kind of pumped. Like, Finn gets to be a little closer to home, back to his roots. Maybe hold the title there in the UK for a while. Definitely bring some attention to the NXT UK, which would be awesome. Except for that means I have to watch it, which means I'm going to have to watch in the middle of the day. We finally found out the name of the future. I don't know what it is about NXT squash matches, but they're never squashes. And so Indish Share, which is the name of the future, dismantled Everrise. But it wasn't a complete squash. NXT is very, very good about not completely burying somebody, but sometimes you need to bury somebody, especially especially when you're bringing out a new performer, a new set of performers, that really makes a big difference. So, yeah, not the worst thing I've ever seen by any means. They did end up getting the win. It's a slow, methodical match. I mean, it's what you expect from big dudes. Yeah. Then we get to the main event. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. This opens up with Gargano pulling up in his Lincoln MKX with Candice. He gets out of the driver's seat. Candice gets out of the passenger seat. She's all sorts of pissed off that he's doing this. She tells him, you don't have to do this. He says, yes, I do have to do this. She hands him a brown paper bag. Goes in. Triple H reminds them both that this is the end of it. It's all over. I am pumped through the roof for this because I think it's going to be the arrival of Killer Kross. I am wrong at the end of this, just so you know. We get an absolute battle. Drake was the referee, which they made a point of, which I kind of liked. So these two just beat the ever-loving crap out of each other. If Edge and Randy Orton could have put on this 36-minute match for their last standing match, last man standing match, they would have had the best match at WrestleMania, hands down. They had a good match at WrestleMania, don't get me wrong. This match rivaled, it didn't rival the Firefly Funhouse match, but that's because the Firefly Funhouse match wasn't really a match, it was a cinematic adventure. But it definitely rivaled the Boneyard match, and a lot less involvement, a lot less mystery to this. It was just two dudes who wanted to beat the ever-loving hell out of each other. Oh, they wanted to kick the H-E-double hockey sticks out of each other, don't you know? Fantastic match. There was everything from the crutch that got used. There was a point where Ciampa puts Gargano through a table. They go outside. They fight on top of the production trucks. They climb back down off the production trucks. They go into the ring. They're just beating the crap out of each other. They end up hitting each other both at the exact same time with I think it was both had a crutch right upside the head, and they both fall down. And in comes Candice LeRae. And Candice LeRae says, are you happy now? She's all pissed off at her husband. Did you get what you wanted? Are you happy? Because she was pissed off when she left. So Candice LeRae actually had the best night of her career. She's yelling at Gargano. She says, are you happy, Tommaso? I hate my husband now. Look what you've turned him into. I hate my husband. She goes, well, just finish it. If you're going to treat him that way and I'm going to hate him, just finish it. You finish it. And she's yelling at Ciampa, and she turns around and kicks Gargano in the dick. And every man who had a crush on Candice LeRae thought to themselves, I have a chance. But it wasn't true, because as she walks away, Ciampa goes over and cares about her, man, or about his best friend. Says, man, I'm sorry. And he's kind of laying on the ground, and out of nowhere, Candice comes back in and kicks Ciampa in the dick, and then tells Gargano to get up and finish him. And Gargano takes out what was in the plastic, or what was in the paper bag, and shows it to Ciampa, which at one point I thought he was literally going to smother Ciampa's face with this, but it was a cup. I was like, oh, that's disgusting. Get it away from his face. It's so gross. Stop. And then he picks him up and finishes him off on the with a kind of a body out pedigree type thing, and hits him, lands him right on the wood of the mat. There's a lot of people who didn't like this. I loved it, with the exception of the fact that it had to be nut shots. Obviously this would have been grueling. Like I said, 36 minutes total on the network. I think it could have been a little bit shorter, but I think it was the best 36-minute match we got. So, yeah, I mean, it's a proper way to end a long feud, I suppose. And I think it completes Gargano's heel turn and Ciampa's face turn. I hope that it's the end. Maybe it might not be. I don't know. It was supposed to be an empty building match, and it was an empty building match. And I just thought this was a good opportunity because it interrupted the Ciampa Gargano match earlier. I thought that this was going to be the introduction to Killer Cross, and this wouldn't end. But we're okay with that. Good overall NXT. I really, really enjoyed that. I know that there's a bunch of people who did not enjoy the length of the Ciampa Gargano match. I think with those two, you have to. Like, this isn't Orton. There's so much more history to these guys than there is. There's a lot of history to Orton and Edge because they're old. I hate saying that. There's a ton of history in these guys because they're good with each other. Like, they're good pairing up. They're good against each other. They're just good wrestlers. And so this was a lot of fun to watch those two beat the crap out of each other. Again, a lot of longer matches here because as a whole they weren't putting as much on TV. I would love to see them use some NXT really does need to do about an hour of my favorite old matches or matches that formed me or something like that. We've talked a little bit about that on FBI and on WBU. I think that's the route to go for the remainder of COVID-19. If you want to do a couple matches, if you want to do some smack talk, you can do that between those. I think that's going to be solid stuff anyways. But there you have it. NXT. I think because of the lack of matches and some of the extension of matches, I'm probably going to give it a 6 convictions, which is pretty solid for what it is right now. It was as good as the previous week. It was the one I was the most anticipating. Wasn't the best ever. Was the best ever empty arena match, but that doesn't say. I mean, here's the deal. So I gave you at the beginning of this, I gave you a teaser. It was the best ever empty arena match. The other one was The Rock and Mankind. Like, I'm not qualifying the other non-canon empty arena matches. This was designed to be an empty arena match. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10 convictions. So, a couple of acquittals involved there. But as a whole, really, really, really good wrestling. Really brutal. Probably would have helped to have a little bit of blood in the Gargano match, but that's okay. So yeah, that is Snap Judgments for this week. Again, check us out on Anchor. You hear all the stuff that we're supposed to say. I don't remember it all. So hopefully, and I'm just saying hopefully, Smarks will put something in here about, donating to us and all the things that we need to do. I just want to watch some wrestling and enjoy it, man. And I think I did that a lot. Like, I was really tired when I was watching this, and I couldn't sleep watching the Gargano Ciampa match. So that was pretty good. And I couldn't sleep during the ladder match. I could have slept during and just share. That was not. This is probably. If we get a couple, like, if we get some UE stuff, Undisputed Era stuff in there, or, crap. Oh, they recapped Charlotte and Rhea. If we get a Rhea match in there, a Rhea interference in that ladder match was what I was expecting. And then I fell in love with Chelsea Green. But if it was going to be clean, I expected it to be Io, and it was exactly that. So, anyway, you can find me at DA Vincent K. Fabe on Twitter. You can find Smarks at Raw and Order WBU. Hit us up. Tell Smarks how much of an idiot I am for this podcast. Because some people hated it. Some people loved it. I loved it. So, catch you next week. Court adjourned.